Good morning. Welcome to the Jimmy Navy Center of Dyersburg State Community College. And this morning we are here for the presidential candidate open forum for the college. And we welcome everybody who's joining us virtually, as well as everyone who's in the audience. This morning, we'd like to welcome Dr. Youlanda Jones, who currently serves as the president of TCAT Covington and Ripley and New Bern. And we're happy to have you here today. The way the forum is going to run is we're going to give Dr. Jones a few minutes here to make some opening comments and introduce yourself to the group. Then I have some prepared questions from the community members that I'll be asking for about 45 minutes. And then we'll have the last 15 minutes or so for questions from the audience and for Dr. Jones to make some closing comments. So I think we're ready to go. Dr. Jones, would you like to say something to the audience today?
Yes. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you so much for this wonderful and amazing opportunity to be with you today. Hopefully today you'll have the opportunity to learn more about me and to get to know me a little bit better and my intentions as far as this position entails. As she said, I'm Youlanda Jones, and I am currently the president for the Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology in Covington, Ripley, and New Bern. My journey before my present position, I was also the vice president for institutional advancement in continuing education and workforce development at Dyersburg State Community College. So my passion for higher ed is unlimited. I also served as the director for the UT Martin Ripley Center, where I had the pleasure of establishing that unique extended campus in Lauderdale County. I love higher education. My passion overflows in ensuring that students have an opportunity like no other. And higher education gives students that opportunity to expand their knowledge, their understanding, and their self-worth. And I believe for every student, that is the reason that we are here. That's the reason we do what we do every day, is to make sure that not only our communities are entailed with a highly skilled workforce, is that we care about the communities in which we serve. And with me living in Dyer County since 1985, I have a passion for this region and a passion for West Tennessee.
Great, thank you, Dr. Jones. If you would, get us started, can you maybe talk about your leadership style and give an example of that style, please?
I look at myself as a servant leader, but also a transformational leader. My goal and my leadership style depicts who I am. And that is to bring groups together for a common goal, a common vision, and a common mission. Now, I will add that I love to be the very best at what I do. I pride myself in not only bringing energy, but also bringing the skills needed to perform at the highest level with the spirit of excellence. For me, higher education gives us that opportunity to perform in the spirit of excellence. So that's what I love to do most. And I love bringing a team together. And that way, when you have a team, especially when it's a diverse team, you have ideas. So that way you can stay innovative. You can stay on the cutting edge, and gives us an opportunity to grow and not get stagnant. In higher education, I think that it's very, very important that we keep our minds and ears and always open, because as our communities change, as our industries change, and as our students change, and as they evolve, we have to be ready to serve them. And I think Dyersburg State most definitely has done that and has the opportunity to continue to do that in a higher round.
In conjunction with discussing leadership style, could you now kind of address a recent project at your current institution? What was your process for assigning work and making sure that people were set up for success?
I will say, for me, organization, communication is very, very important when you're putting any type um, of idea together when you're promoting something on campus. And I would say some of my biggest projects that I've had on campus thus far have been new buildings, new programs. What we do at the TCATS currently is we actually build programs that are conducive to the industries that we serve. So that is an ever-evolving realm that we're in. And so one of the newest things that we've done that we brought to our campus in Newbern actually is we had a program called an electronics program. We've had that program for several years, but as many of you know, technology has changed over the years. So one of the things that we had to do is we had to look at the program, look how it was meeting the needs of our students in our communities. And we found that the enrollment in that program had declined over the past 5 years. So we took a deeper dive in what the industry was looking at right now. So I got, the instructor and I got together, we talked about some opportunities, we looked at existing programs in the area, and we also met with some of the industry providers that typically use electronics. At that point, we decided that electronics was an outdated program. So we looked at computer information technology. We met with an advisory board, which was made up of several industries in the surrounding area. They also understood the change that needed to happen, and we incorporated computer information technology last fall. From that incorporation of that program, it went from a low-producing program in that institution to now having a wait list for that institution. So I think it's very, very key that when you make decisions, you don't make them lightly. You meet with all of the important partners that are involved. We also included students when we talked about the new programs, and they were very, very excited about the change. So bringing the instructors, administration, the industry, and the students all on board, making that change. Now we have computer information technology is one of the thriving programs that we offer at TCAT.
Thank you. So I've got another issue or another question related to leadership style, and then we'll kind of move into a different area. But this question is, some employees are motivated by praise and others by criticism. Which do you feel motivates employees more, praise or criticism? And how do you determine which type of an employee or person is? What motivates them better, praise or criticism?
Well, I truly believe that criticism is not a way that you should approach any situation. Praise is something that people take as feelings, but I'm really, when I look at the comparison between praise and criticism, I'm all about honesty and all about the truth in building others. So not necessarily will you like everything I say, but it's how I say it. So if I come to you in an honest way, giving you truth to empower you and to make you better, that's how you strengthen your surrounding support mechanism, which is the people that work for you, that work with you. Criticism is something that, to me, can change the momentum and change the morale of a campus. So you have to be very, very careful that it's not that you have to say anything that's not something that someone doesn't like, but it's how you say it. And if they leave you feeling better than they were when you left, but you have a mutual understanding for growth, I think as far as communication, that's how it should happen.
Great, thank you. We're going to move a little bit now into kind of a broader perspective and look at some things about the college, even connections with community. The first question has to do with what would be your approach to diversity, equity, and inclusion with students, faculty, and staff, and how would you measure your success in those areas?
Well, I think all three are very, very important. For me, the students that you serve, especially in our region, you know they are diverse. Equity is important because you want representation across the board. You want to make sure all voices are heard. So when you are diverse and you include equity and inclusion, you just make sure that you're just not hearing a lone voice. You're getting input from every sector. And to me, that builds a stronger foundation. So without that, you may be only hearing from that one I would say sometimes the majority. But to me, it's very, very important that you hear from all. And inclusion in making sure that we hear the importance from every student population, when you're looking at your workforce, when you're looking at your employers. I think it's always important for you to have inclusion.
Great, thank you. The next question is about how do you plan to make connections throughout the communities that DSEC serves?
Well, I will say, because right now we serve the same community, I have made those connections. I know the workforce, I know the businesses, I know the student population. Right now, we are part of the college system of Tennessee. So the technical colleges and the community colleges work together, currently serving our students and serving our industries. And I think there's no better time than the present, especially when we have new industries coming into our region. We will not be able to do this as a silo. We must work together with our other higher education partners and also including our high schools as well to be successful at this endeavor. So now is the time for us to partner like no other time before with our industries, and not only our new industries, but with our existing industries, because they have been our foundation this entire time. So we can't forget about our current industries, but welcome all new industries as well. So I do feel like I know, especially all of my community, my friends, what I call them, my partners, very well throughout West Tennessee.
Thank you. Dr. Jones, we all know that fundraising is highly important, and certainly to this institution as the others. So as the next president, potentially, describe your experience with fundraising, in particular, your approach with cultivating new donors from the community, perhaps from the alumni group as well as from parents.
Well, I do feel like fundraising is very, very important. As you know, the many things that are needed for our institutions, we look for donors to help us support not only our students, but any future projects that we may have. So for me, fundraising is very, very important. Dyersburg State has been known for many, many, many years for their fundraising endeavors on behalf of Dr. Karen Boyer, who has done an amazing job in establishing the foundation and working closely with our alumni who have graduated from this institution. I do feel like it will be one of my major components that I must continue that endeavor in fundraising to make sure that we continue to involve our community as far as financially, approaching them based on our needs for our students and also for the institution as a whole. For me, sometimes I look at projects. When I was the past vice president for institutional advancement, it was very, very important that the community knew what we were doing, what our mission was, what we were working on, and what our needs are. Because when you're asking someone to give and for someone to support you, you want to have that foundation that shows that once you give or donate to this institution, you will see something amazing coming from your gift. A lot of times I know scholarships for students are one of the high demand ask items because our students do need additional funding at times to cover for their books or any out-of-pocket expenses and sometimes living expenses. that we don't foresee, and we don't want anyone to have any type of restraints from coming to the institution. So it would be my job to find the donors and the gifts that we can support our students in the institution in ways that we can continue to grow and continue to prosper.
We'll move a little bit now, since we talked about kind of the external to the people we serve, the students. So in your experience, what specific programs, services, or actions have helped improve student success, and what will you do to access excuse me, the current services being provided in order to improve or enhance that in the future? Excuse me. Can we repeat that last part? Yes, I will. What will you do to assess the current services being provided in order to improve or enhance what's already in place?
Well, the first thing that I'll look at is, because we are here for our students. So I would look at enrollment, of course. I would look at our graduation rates, of course. I would look to see if we are meeting the needs of our current population of students on the campus, and if we are not, looking for ways that we can support students. For me, having access and making sure that we're meeting our students where they are and taking them where they need to be, that's our number one goal. Our students come to us with a variety of backgrounds, and their needs are completely different. So we have to make sure that every student that walks in the door, we are meeting them with our hands held wide, saying, what can we do for you to make you the strongest student that you can be? And also, for retention purposes, it's not only good enough for students to come, but our goal is for them to graduate. So making sure that we have things in place to make sure they are successful. So everything from offering, I would say, some tutoring services if that's needed, and if they're having problems at home. One thing going through the pandemic that I have gained to realize is more important than I had ever known before is the mental stress that students have based on what is happening in their homes or at school itself. So the mental health of our students is also very, very important. So we must also consider that as we teach, as we serve, and as we support our students. So for me, making students successful, I would look at supporting them, making sure they have a good process, an easy process for admissions and entering the institution, but also looking at retention and ways to keeping them while they're here. And also, thirdly, assisting them with employment opportunities or transferability opportunities upon their completion.
Great, thank you. Along those lines, excuse me, again, the students, what do you see as the greatest barrier for today's students in enrolling and then progressing through a degree?
In West Tennessee, a lot of our students have problems that maybe in Middle and East that they don't. Transportation, childcare, family situations have all been barriers for students to complete. Right now, I look at, for me, a lot of students have jobs, they have families, so they're making a sacrifice to say, I also want to go to school. So we have to find a way that we can help those students in whatever situation they're in to be successful. So if they come in the door and we know that they have these barriers or these obstacles, when you have a student that says, I don't even have a way to get to school, how do we help them? Or I don't have childcare. And one of the things during this pandemic, I've realized that a lot of our students not only take care of their children, they take care of their parents and they take care of their grandparents. So when a student is sick, what do you do with that? Or a student's child is sick, what do you do? How do you support them so they can still stay in school and be academically a success. So for me, looking at each student individually and getting that relationship with that student, or having someone on that campus that has that relationship, that they can support that student during their journey while they're enrolled, to me, it is one of the most important things that we can do to make sure that they have the support that they need.
Great. We have recognized athletic programs here at the SEC and coaches. So what are some ideas and strategies that you have in mind to ensure that the SEC athletes and its athletic programs continue to grow in the NJCAA powerhouse?
Well, I have heard and I've known when I was here before that the athletic programs on the campus are robust. So for me, I would just ensure that they have the support that they needed, the financial support that they need. One of the models that I use across the state when I speak is for athletes, they have coaches that are also their mentors and sometimes their mother or father figures. So they have that additional support where our other students would love to have that support. So they're an exceptional model of how students can just transform and do an amazing job, not only academically, but also whatever athletic group they are in. So I would continue to support those, of course, and actually ask the question, is there anything else that they would need at this time to make them even better? But I think it's very, very important that that part of the institution is well supported as well.
All right. Along with students, again, we do know that at this institution, as well as many other community colleges, the dual enrollment population is important. And UT Martin has a dual admissions partnership with Jackson State, where a student is enrolled in both colleges together. And what are your thoughts about dual enrollment with the high schools, as well as potentially creating some dual admissions programs and connections for the SEC with other universities or universities?
I think especially at this time, it is something that we must do. Dual enrollment gives us the opportunity to educate students while they're in high school. I would even go as far as to say we need to do more of it and establish programs where we can reach more high school students and introduce them to community college even sooner. My huge goal, if I can share that, is if we were to get funding even for 9th and 10th graders at some point to introduce them to higher education at a sooner date, we could have students, dual enrollment students, that could quickly and seamlessly graduate from Dyersburg State Community College while they're in high school for certain programs. I'm not saying that we could do it for all programs, but I do feel like we have some very intelligent high school students that we need to touch. With the Drive for 55 initiative that we've been dealt our own initiatives with, this is one way we can always elevate our diplomas, our certificates, our degrees, by touching students while they're in high school. So I think dual enrollment for us is very, very crucial. The more students we can touch at that level, I think would advance and give us some retention power as well as they transfer to community colleges and universities as well, including our technical colleges.
All right. The next question is about your work with grants, and some specific grants that we know that Dyersburg State has include TRIO and Title III. So what's the grant fundraising activity you have, or grant activity you have?
Okay, currently, are you meaning some that I've been involved with, or?
However you'd like to go.
Oh, okay.
We're curious about your grant experience.
Okay, currently, some grants that I have, currently that I'm working with is TCAT Covington received the GIVE grant for approximately $1 million, where we started our first digital agronomy program at TCAT Covington, which gave us an opportunity to go into that innovative ag atmosphere. I'm also working on a DRA grant, also to support that program. I've written several grants throughout my tenure in administration. I also partnered with Dyersburg State on their grant as well with the RC&A program. I've written several grants for all three institutions. We also operate an adult education program at TCAT Ripley, which is also grant funded. At TCAT Newbern, we've done several individual grants where we work with specific programs such as welding, where we get funding for equipment. So my grant writing experience is extensive. I think grants are a crucial component in supporting programs, especially new initiatives that you have. On this campus, I know in my past position, working with students, sustaining students, working with populations that may be distressed, is very, very important to use grants as wraparound to support your institution. So those are just some of the grants that I have written in the past.
Thank you. Nice job. You got it, you got it. I asked you about it, and you got it. The next question is about, if you would, explain to the audience your interest in this position at DSCC as the president when you already hold a comparable position at TCAT.
Well, I will say I am blessed to be the president for TCAT Covington, Ripley, and Newbern. But as you know, when your blessings come, Dyersburg State would be a blessing as well. As you know, when you seek on an endeavor to grow and to get better, especially in your professional life, I have lived in West Tennessee and I have worked here on 2 occasions. I know exactly what it involves to be a leader at an amazing institution. So my desire is to continue to use my skills that I have learned, my education, my background, my motivation. To me, Dyersburg State would give me that opportunity to continue that journey, to continue I guess I'm saying it would give me the opportunity to continue my dream of being an administrator at an amazing institution. So for me, that is my dream, that is my ask, and I think I would do an amazing job.
Let you know that would be stepping into some rather impressive shoes. And so, since DSCC has your president retiring after 37 years, 37 and a half, it is rewarding and but daunting. A campus culture is likely deeply embedded, and how you work to change culture where needed and embrace the campus culture where appropriate, and how you discern the difference.
Well, after 37 years, I can honestly say that all of you know the campus culture very well, and sometimes change can be a bit difficult, but it's all about the approach. I would be a new president, but the vision for the institution, being that it is founded on our students and on our community, that would not change. So for me, it would be great communication. It would be the welcoming and the sharing of knowledge, it would be becoming the same institution, but a different institution under a different leadership. So I know sometimes change can be difficult, but I do think I have the skills, the ability, the motivation to welcome that change in an approach that would be welcoming to not only the faculty and staff, but the students as well. So I think Dyersburg State, of course, Dr. Boyer has been here for many, many years, and my goal would be to take this institution where it is and continue to take it to that new level and those new heights.
Thank you. In your experience, could you discuss how much of a president's time should be spent articulating a vision or strategy versus directing the college's operations, and also keeping in mind fundraising? So, vision and strategy, college operations, and fundraising.
I think the vision should be known by all. So for me, it's important for the campus to know the vision and to create strategies to make sure that that vision happens. As far as operating the college, to me, you put people in place to do their jobs, and you're going to surround yourself with very good people. I'm not a micromanager, but I love a team approach. I do what I do because I'm surrounded by a team that loves what they do and they take pride in it. Here, I would take that same approach, that giving the vision is very, very important, but having that foundation and that belief that the college can operate because you've put people in place that they're accountable for those actions as well, and with that common vision.
Right. In light of that area of looking at the president's roles, from the larger perspective, what do you see as the SEC's biggest challenge and greatest threat, and how would you address those?
Well, I think right now, one of the biggest challenges is looking at our graduation rates. For funding purposes, is not only that we have students enroll, but we want to see them graduate as well. So I think that would be one of the challenges that I would look at, is increasing those graduation numbers across the campus or across the institution. And as far as a threat, I would probably say, but I will say this, not that it is a threat, but for me, I would call it a challenge. When you've had an administrator for many, many years, the challenge would be that you have a welcoming and open commitment from the faculty, the staff, and students to know that change is good, that new approaches are sometimes welcoming. That would be a challenge that I would say that I might have, that things may not be the same as it always has been, that I would have new light and new vision, and that I would hope and also expect that everyone would come together and share their thoughts with me on what they see, the great things that are happening, and if there's anything that needs, a little tweak here and there, they would share with me that as well. So for me, I would not see it as a threat, but as a challenge to take this institution under a new leadership, under a new umbrella with a new vision, and taking it into a new atmosphere.
Looking at stepping into the community college stream, I guess one might say, would you put into your own words what you view as the difference between a community college and a university?
The difference between a community college and a university is a community college prepares students to go to a university. We give them the foundation. We give them the first 2 years of their education. Now, from those 2 years, they can be employed or they can transfer. So the difference is we make, with the associate's programs, we offer 2 options. Students can either go to work after graduation or they can transfer to a university. Now, we offer the same foundations. We offer for our students the support that they need to be successful. Our students, unfortunately, they stay at home instead of on campus. That's probably the biggest difference. They do not, stay in the dorms, but we give them a family-like atmosphere. Our instructors know their students by name. We care. We have what I call that special touch. Community colleges have that special touch, where universities may be bigger in number, but they sometimes lose that special touch that community colleges offer. So we can support our students with the smaller classrooms and environments, with our specialty programs, with our counseling and our support systems that are embedded into the institution. We have more of a family than we just have an institution.
Thank you. Since you brought us back to students, our goal, I kind of wanted to go back to a question regarding diversity in students. And what do you think is the most important aspect of diversity with respect to our students, as well as how you promote diversity at the college so that it's modeled for our students?
I would say diversity is key. One of the things when students come to your campus, they want to feel welcome, they want to feel supported, and they want to feel like you care. And that's on every spectrum. So diversity, especially within your faculty, within your staff, within your administration, is a must. Students want to see someone that looks just like them. They want to have that comfort that if they have a problem, someone will understand that problem. So diversity is a must on a campus. So students from across West Tennessee will know that they can come to Dyersburg State and they have a seat at the table. They have a seat in the classroom, that they will be seen and they will be heard and they will be included. So I do feel like it's very, very important on every level. And that makes sure that the experiences that we share, the experiences that we give our students are robust, but they're diverse. So we make sure that we're touching every student and not just some students.
More specifically, can you also address how various curriculum and events can be structured to assist in representing diversity at the college?
I think that can be done very simply by using diverse structures in your classroom, using diversity in teaching, focusing on different topics that can actually touch different students, giving them the opportunity to report and respond on things that interest them. Sometimes that educates us as well, giving them the opportunity to bring things to you, more so than us always bringing things to them. So that gives you a way for both sides to learn and to be involved.
Thank you. Where do you realistically see yourself in Dyersburg State in 5 years?
Where do I see myself? In 5 years. at Dyersburg State. I see myself bringing new innovative ideas, looking at creative partnerships across the state. I'm a big believer of partnering. To me, the more you partner, the more you can grow and the more you can expand. So for me, in 5 years, I would love to be the foundation for every higher education institution. They should be looking for us at our graduates so they can continue on having those articulation agreements in place. So when our students leave here, they're going on and having a presence where students know that this is only the beginning for them. Also, in 5 years, I would love to continue to have a robust fundraising opportunity to help fund the institution through supporting the foundation as well with fundraising and grant writing. And I would love the opportunity to increase our enrollment and our graduation rates at least 10%. I think we can definitely put some things in place to make that happen. And to me, having that special touch to not only have students come, but also have them graduate, and also having our instructors or our faculty mentorship programs that can help other faculty across the state. I've heard that there's some wonderful ideas that our faculty have that I know needs to be shared, and I would love the opportunity for our faculty to do that as well.
Thank you. We've now reached the moment when the audience gets to ask some questions. So is there anyone in the audience who'd like to step down to the microphone and ask Dr. Jones a question? Come on down.
Thank you for coming, Dr. Jones. In the previous years, I have seen the struggle with students trying to obtain federal aid and the funding to attend any institution of education. There seems to have been a constraint with federal funding, and as a president of a community college, would you be able to challenge and having some of those guidelines and rules change when it comes to federal funding for our students?
I would say I would be the voice to simplify that process. I do think right now, one of the challenges our students face when applying for financial aid is the application process itself. Some of our students left home when they were 18 years old, and they're no longer under or living with their parents. So to require them to get their parents' information can sometimes be a struggle. So I am a big component of simplifying the financial aid process as much as possible, because that should not be a deterrent for a student coming to Dyersburg State or any college for that matter. So simplifying that process would be a huge advantage to this institution.
Thank you very much.
And I'll be happy to be that voice to do that.
Any additional questions from the audience at this time? It seems we've kind of reached the end of our question period, so take a breath. And Dr. Jones, give you at this time a moment to make any closing comments if you'd like to address to our audience in live stream and our audience in the auditorium.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you for this wonderful opportunity, especially for those that are in-house and live streaming. My goal was to share information, and hopefully throughout this day, I'll be able to continue to share that information and answer any questions that you have. I am an open book. One thing I will add is that I love to work hard, and I love to be the best at what I do. One of the biggest things for me that makes me very proud is that I love the opportunity to motivate and inspire those to reach their dreams, especially if they've had obstacles. That's why I've been called to do what I do, because every student or potential student should have the opportunity for a better life. And I sit here before you because I was given that opportunity. Someone spoke to me one day and told me that I could. And from that day, it has been my dream not only to make them proud, but to give others that opportunity as well. And in higher education, that's what we do. We change lives, and sometimes in some cases, we save lives. So I'm sitting here before you today because I want to continue to change and save lives at Dyersburg State Community College. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. It's been our pleasure to have you on our campus today, and the audience in live stream, as well as the audience here, and everyone who is going to be involved throughout the day, listening to your comments as you go to the various forums, will be invited and is invited to complete a survey about the finalists for the next president of Dyersburg State Community College. And that survey can be accessed at the TBR website, HR Executive Searches, or one can go by the QR code that is posted near the exits as you leave today. And before we go, I just wanted to thank all the people who kind of put this together. It's been a tremendous effort on their part. Edith Carlton in particular, and Ms. Jackie Cherry, who spent hours and many hours now with the candidates, and also Josh Duggan and Edwin Richardson, the IT, pit crew who are traveling fast and furious from one location to another. We appreciate that, and that's another reason why I need you to go out there and fill out those surveys so you can help take care of not just the people that are here helping us and bringing Dr. Jones to us this morning, but also all of our students in our communities that will benefit by the next president's election. Thank y'all. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your Monday. Happy November.
That's right.
Ooh, let me start with you.